guys, thank you very much for being here. Polina here, talking to you about the month of November. Whoa, it is the 24th of October 2017 and it's a goofy little window. It is now the 24th. It is not right. There is something a little bit strange in the air, and this is because we have Halloween coming up and the collective mind is doing things that it probably need less to do in this modern day and age. We probably don't need to stick it out during this Halloween and try to do all those things, because it's really messing with the vibrations that are really well to do. This is a nice start. If you are completely not into celebration, if you have cut your social life to a minimum, it's a great start to create. It is a great start to start a book. It is a great start to become an entrepreneur, even a millionaire one day. It is a great beginning of something, and this is usually not truly fertilized or fruiting in the end of October there, as people are not really sane, or they're looking for something that's not sane, or they're trying to win something over still, maybe, or someone over, because, you know, Jupiter's past Libra, so we're looking for something or somebody that's not right, and people are not really using this time correctly, I feel. I don't think that it's for everybody, but I feel that this is a really nice generative time. It's a really good beginning making time. It's a really nice starting frequency, basically, for anything you want to do. Anything that should have been dissolved and understood in September, by the end of October should be now the fertilizer for the new ground. So on the 21st of September we had the equinox, and now we've got a really nice starting of the second part of the year. To me, it is the second part of the year because my year ends in March, because that is when Aries begins. So continuing on with that thought, the structure of the new has to become you. Where I take this is basically this beginning that you're creating has to eventually involve you, or dissolve into you, or dissolve itself and become something more like you. This isn't a good time to start a band or a program or something that's not to do with you. It's not a good time for practical jokes. It isn't a very safe expression to create a business that then creates money that you don't want to have anything to do with. So the idea of get rich fast schemes, and the schemes where you are starting, say, a brand that is not yours or used to be from your old interests, that you're then trying to take from the past into the present, no. So having a look at you now is the most important thing you can do as we get into October and Jupiter is illuminating Scorpio, and Pluto and Mercury are looking so good in the sky at the moment that it's truly a chance to give it all and do the thing right. And as you start new projects, please consider, what do they mean to you personally, how they're enriching your spiritual and emotional progress, and nonetheless also, will they be successful? So it's a really nice little space to have a look as to how you can enrich yourself through business or through perseverance, but in the same sense remain entirely your own. And as you can see, we've been building up to this since June, actually probably May, late May, as Gemini has helped us really understand what is and isn't ours, what is and isn't sensible, and what is and isn't any more interesting. And by July, you should have at least had a very good look at yourself, your family, your roots, and your structure. And then through to August, you must have developed your heart enough to now, in this window, as we are in October, and this is the reproductive cycle, because Scorpio is the reproductive parts, generate or create, perhaps even birth or burst through, or finally understand and put together really quickly, or slap together something that is entirely yours. And this isn't an easy thing to imagine, but for some reason I'm feeling that many of us are still trying to create a censored version and a desensitized version of work for ourselves, where we don't actually really connect to any of the people that we work with. We don't connect, or we don't create a fertile ground for the soul. We don't have any type of thing to do with ourselves. We're just basically still in the conveyor belt generative mode, which should now be over. And this is a great time to start the new things with a completely fresh expression of yourself. In the last year, what did you learn about yourself? In the last few months, how did you feel about yourself? What are the fresh new shoots that perhaps might feel a little bland or a little bit over the top? There might be a re-evaluation of self taking place still, as we've just come out of Libra. There might be like oh, I'm not sure if I should have put those videos online. It doesn't matter. It won't matter. So basically, having a look at what you are as a portal, not just for you, just as a portal. And why are you still not, for example, using your full voice? How come you're still not wanting to show everything about you? Why are you hiding, or why are you protruding things that are not yours? And what are the main things that you are scared of in yourself? As we are truly well in Scorpio now, where are those interesting facts about you that are on the back burner, and why? How come you are not integrating your entire being? And how come there's most of us that have about 60 or 70% of us censored or put away for a rainy day or the better days? And why do you still delegate yourself not as a whole, but only in part? And why do we, in some sense, have to talk a certain way around certain people and then have to change our face for others? What is that switcheroo game, tipsy-turvy little number that we're playing on ourselves, when we fully can't embrace and embed who we are in this reality? And this is a powerful time to do what's right for you. It's a perfect expression to just be it, and to at least have some kind of portal or experience or opportunity to just put all your cards there in front of you. Perhaps if you can't yet, if you feel it's too precious to do in front of somebody else or something else, put all the cards in front of you and say, this is it, this is who I've come to be. For example, all my life I thought I was an entrepreneur. I'm 37 and I just want to surf and take photos of myself and put them on Instagram. That's my only joy, and I've come to this only in the last few years, and there's just been building up and building up. But be patient also, as not to throw everything into the new you, because for example, if you've just found something in the last month or so, and perhaps even if it is very enlightened, but you've been kind of carried there by a person, and you say this is a total switch, unless you've got a lot of Scorpio or Pisces in you, quite often these types of really radical switches in the last moments of your life aren't going to totally serve. So it has to be very well discerned how long you've been going on your track, how long you've been minding a certain type of work, how much have you been putting yourself into your business or into your interest over the years, and what have you come to be as a result of those actions. It's a very nice delegative time. It's a beautiful time to resculpt your mind. It's a perfect welcoming feeling for anybody who really wants to finally get themselves through, finally become that person, finally try and make it. It's a great time for first time business. It's a really good time for first time perhaps babies coming through now. So people that have been pregnant for a while and they got their babies coming through now might have a very interesting life with these kids. It's an incredible opportunity to be the first at something, or the first time starter of something. And even for some of us people, new extraordinary things can happen, such as happy accidents, accidental discoveries, inventions and things like that, but only if you've been going on a path, not turning back, and how can I say, unswaying in other people's directions, because it might be very, very hard for some of us, as it's been quite a merging time for a lot of us coming up to October, to distinguish which parts are yours and which are the ones that are trying to still communicate with others, are still trying to water yourself down, to fruity, chocolatey, sugarcoat yourself, or to develop some kind of aesthetic that you think another person might want to see. Another few things about this month of November is probably dictatorship on a global scale and on a close scale as well. Dictatorship. What you might want to do is see who is riding you. Who is riding you? What is trying to get your attention? And it's not often that those things actually want or can ride you. It's just sometimes we are asking for a special type of guardianship from another person or some other source, which then becomes like a big evil or a big mess. If you've got, for example, a teenage son who's been riding you, for money, smoking pot in his room, taking your things, or, something like that, it's not necessarily that he's got to be ruled out as like the bad guy or the child that's gone wrong. It's more important to see what he is trying to bring up in you. So, for example, my teenage son is very young, and he is poking and prodding at me in a really aggressive ways, and that perhaps isn't the lack of me, it is just the more of me that's trying to come out. And quite often during this time, if you are being challenged by another person aggressively, if somebody gets toothy with you, they're trying to bring up the lion in you or in themselves, and it's not actually unnurturing because of how we're placed in the sky. It's not just silliness and distortion. I'm feeling that a lot of people that have power struggle issues and dictatorship tendencies aren't usually the ones that we think they are. And I see that here, if there's people that are looking to you like they're prodding you, basically take their advice and step up or step down. Just have a look at how that balances out, because they might want a better situation for them and for you through that experience. Another little thing is sex. Another little thing is sex and the distortion of it, which can take place, or it's already taken its place in October. There might have been different types of vibes that you are used to that are suddenly on top, and then there's something new on the bottom. Or there might be a different type of thing that you're suddenly into, or like a very new type of experience that you are craving, which isn't yours, but it might be like a window into something else. And we sometimes, when we don't quite know how to expand out of our lives, are looking kind of for like a sensual or an erotic experience that can sometimes, like a wave, push us from underneath and create in us something else. It's not a bad idea to explore if you've been with a person for a while. If you, however, are at parties or you're single and you're looking around, be very careful of that, because sometimes people are just little treats, like cupcakes, little treats, and they're not really the full expansion of themselves. And when we are at this really, really, really narrow edge of Pluto and this incredible freaky feeling in Mars, and Aries is illuminated by Uranus still, when we are in this type of sincerity voyage and we're trying to find the new us in which to grow more of ourselves, it's not an easy time to suddenly become someone's little treat, or suddenly someone's little fetish, or someone's little girl or boy. It is much better to, take advantage of things if everybody is completely on the ball, and you're understanding that it is what it is for every person involved, however many people there might be involved. But if you are not sure, and if you are fresh, and especially if you haven't yet found you and haven't seen the future, or you have no idea what you're doing, to take into consideration really strong or sensualizing experiences at this point in time might break you, or that might clip your wings a bit. So when you are actually looking at yourself, you might think that you're in context of that small experience. However, for those of us who are masters at sexuality, and have a very expanded view of Tantra, very expanded view of connection between people and the energetic and emotional connection that we have with another. And this is not only sex, this is most likely just that for most people, but for some people, for some of us who have been using transfused sexual energy for healing, for karma reform, for shamanic initiations, for drawing spirits out of the body, if we've been using kundalini, if we've been using tantric knowledge to get that energy out in other ways, even through dance and meditative trances and things like that. This is great for those who have been doing this for a long time and that don't care what the outcome is. So it's like we just kind of like swimming through it, and we become it and becomes us, and then it just like comes through us and we don't even notice it does. So people that have been working with spirit a long time, people that have been, for example, playing drum, putting people into alternate states and pulling things out of the body, purging the body of entities, everything like that. If you are somebody who's in a tiny little group in the world, not so tiny, but who's in that group and that can use Tantra and, you know, shamanic voyaging to a degree with such mastery that you don't even notice it. It's just like, oh yeah, I was just brushing my teeth and I went out into the astral and I saw my mom and we had a chat. You know, if you're like me and you can just, you know, and it hasn't really been an issue in the past, go for it. So, for example, if you've wanted to start practice, now is the time. Now is the time, because there's so many of us looking for you. If you have the ability to restructure reality through Kundalini, through shamanic way of life, through energy reform, through purging spirits, through exorcism, anything like that, and if you believe, you already went through the phase where you believed it. You know, it's like you've already done it and it's already like part of your life. And perhaps you're feeling slightly on top of things because you're no longer worried about being marginalized. So it's like you are only just yourself and you don't even expect company anymore. And if you almost become like a hero and then you became just you, oh yeah, that's right, I can purge demons out of the body, and it doesn't really feel like anything. It doesn't feel like anything. And also if you are incredibly sexual and you use a lot of sexual frequency to work with reality, and you use the orgasms as a portal to work with reality, there's no fear anymore, and there is no, how can I say, there is no instability in yourself, so you're strong enough to work with it, go for it. If you're a shaman, if you're a healer, if you're even a medic, or somebody who can just open up the body and just look through the organs and then sew it up again, and you know, whatever. If you are somebody who can do these things and it's been such a long journey for you that you are no longer interested in the result, go for it. Go for it. It's an interesting time to see you shine. It's an intense time to approach people for it, but be careful if you're not seen as an expert by another person. That could be that because you're not. And if you are still yet unsatisfied about how you've been treated, for example, you are walking out and saying, but I'm the best at this, but I can like read tarot cards, I can use shamanic voyaging for people, but look, I can. If you're one of them people, don't worry for now. There will come a time perhaps in the next 5 or 6 years where after Jupiter accentuation, we have an abundance of opportunity to get even better at who we've become. So don't take it to heart. If you are taking it to heart and you're creating these incredible experiences for people, but sometimes it really gets to you not ready, so it's okay. But the most potent thing sometimes is to come across a person during this time that can actually take you to the next expansion level through sexuality, through tantric arts, through meditation, through maybe yoga retreats, very specialty yoga retreats, tantric stuff. It all can become an incredible mind-blowing thing. But if you have, you know, it's like when the student is ready, the master appears, you know, that kind of thing. When you have been kind of chosen connectively with that person as well to be part of that experience, and it blows your mind, or there is like an extra dimension of the sexuality, or you know, the inner work that you have gone through, there is all this stuff happening. Don't seduce anything inside yourself. Don't buy into anything. either one person. It's important to be detached here, especially as Jupiter is going to go through where the sun now illuminates. It's very good not to get distracted, and definitely not attached to these experiences, though they can happen. So one night or one day can change it all. Miracles happen. Also, this is kind of crazy. Car crashes being averted by some unseen force. Houses being, you know, almost like a millimeter away from being burned down. People's money going missing then being found again. People thieving or like losing things, and then they get found again, or the people get found, or something happens. Somebody can find God really easily during this time. But don't, how can I say, you don't need it. You don't need the fast, miraculous, quick-paced initiation type of energy here, unless you're really strong and the feeling that you're stuck or that you're going nowhere. Like if you are knowing and you like being sitting there for 4 years saying, God, give me a sign, or like give me that person that's going to accentuate everything that I am. Please help me find a guru or a master. Unless you are like that, it's usually not such a good idea to go scary hunting, scary stuff hunting, or like to go guru hunting right now. Unless it's just in front of you, like you open the newspaper and you go through the columns and you're like, okay, so Martha the psychic charges $20 for a tarot reading. Yeah, okay, I'll call her up. You know, it has to be as bland as possible. And if you're seeing somebody like me or somebody like another psychic or another healer, it's really nice to just like take it and go, okay, cool. And sometimes even to put it away. Because we are in a very, 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 very deep time that doesn't seem deep. Because we've got a celebration in the air. There's a feeling of celebration this November, as Scorpio won a prize. Maybe there's something about scorpionic energy that's very lucky and very protruding during this time, but it must not be treated as a Halloween aftertaste. It must not be treated as a little ride in the carnival. It is not about that. It is basically like, okay, you see a psychic, best if they give you some things on paper and you don't even read the paper. You go, okay, yeah, I'll take that in and I'll see what happens, and maybe in 3 years you'll read it, or in just a few months, because not a great time to bargain with reality, not a good time to ask for somebody to manifest you something, like, get me that man, or like, how can I get a job through magic, you know, how can I, no, not a good time to bargain with reality and to kind of like poke at people who can do these things as well. And for example, if you are somebody who reads, or you are somebody who dabbles in different dimensions, and you get people coming up and saying, well, you know, you do that thing you do, well, what star sign am I? Can you guess my star sign? Or like, well, you know what I do, can you know, run a little trick, you know, could you make me feel something? Can you cleanse my chakras? Can you make me feel different? You know, can you pull a rabbit out of a hat? So definitely when you are a psychic or a guru or some kind of person, you might get more people than usual during November spike you up like that. And then on the other hand, if you are a really beautiful woman and you take care of yourself, and you exercise a lot and you eat healthy and you are developing yourself as a portal every day, it is not likely that you will be gone unseen. So when you're a beautiful woman, especially, and also if you're a beautiful man, I suppose, especially women, I'm feeling, because we're in such a culture, and also how we got Venus placed in next month as well in the 12th house to the sun, it is not so great, how can I say, to feed or not feed. It's just like, you know, somebody gives you a compliment, somebody takes you out to dinner, it's not a good thing to scoop under the rug or to elevate. So definitely be in balance about that, and don't take things too seriously. And also with us psychics, or people that are somehow attractive to people, it may not be easy to see what that becomes later. For example, if you suddenly in November decide, I'm going to be, say, a stripper because I'm a beautiful woman, or I'm going to become like a glamour model, or I'm going to suddenly start reading tarot, it's a very, very, very fixative time. It's a fixed sign, Scorpio, so occasionally what this might give you is something that you can't return. It's like you get a book out from the library, and then you can't return the book, and you got to carry the book in your bag every day, if you can imagine that. So it's not a big deal, but sometimes we can start things that we can't later return. With, oh, wait, relationships. Relationships. So as I've accidentally burst that bubble last month, talking about relationships and love and sexuality. Very good time it was about 2 or 3 years ago to start a relationship that lasts for a life. It's not so good now, and this is why, because we've gone through a humbling emotional energy for the last 2 or 3 years where we could have gone married, had a really nice pact, made a baby, created something that's really, really humbling and beautiful between the two. This type of cycle, we've got voodoo love. We've got a man who just walks after the woman, can't stop. We've got women who practice voodoo. We've got women who are strung along by men as well. We have, it doesn't matter what gender you are, what gender you prefer. It's just a time where people just get entranced, and this might not last as well. If you are looking for it, say, if you say, I would like to meet a man who becomes almost like a slave, like a sex slave, or like I'd like to meet a woman who bends over backwards for me and we create a tantric experience that's unlike any other on earth. Unless you are fully in magic and you practice every day and you astral project every single day and you can't see anything else but a really magical experience, it just doesn't work. Hey honey, would you like a cup of tea? So unless you are living mortal life outside of the mortal perspective, this isn't a good wish. The best thing that can come out of it is rapture of the heart and recreation of self. But whether it lasts for a long time as a result or not is a question. And when you did find that person, perhaps if you're still looking, it's okay. But if you still, how can I say, if you're still trying to create a certain type of very, very intense and devotional experience with a person, when you're just a normal person looking for those things that everybody else is kind of looking for, it isn't going to give you exactly what you want, or it will give you something else. It's kind of like playing tricks with life. And I feel that the magnetic field for lovers in the next 3 or 4 years is not easy unless you're really truly wanting to do something, like say, I am writing books, this is my magic portal, and then what do I look for in the man? I just look someone who's just with me, who has a cup of tea with me, we go for a walk, or like we go for a kayak, we go for a bike ride, we walk around town, and we do nice things together. That's that. If you are looking for somebody with a really intense magical edge, know that you're not looking for anything with them. You're just looking for that part of yourself to be able to shine. So pick a portal. Great time. So once again, to the beginning of the video, great time to start seeing how you can evolve yourself into your own business, how you can create your life fully around you, and how you can put all of you forward and become more authentic within yourself. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. If you would like to, I haven't got my book here, it's okay. If you'd like to buy my books, I've got 3 books now, 3, and they're just going through Amazon. So I've got Unleash the Beast, which is about working with shadow and how to understand your light and dark. That's available now. There's also Quantum Leap, which is basically about, it's a really timely book now actually, it's about the energy of the orgasm and how to use your natural energy in a non-sexual way. So it's about using that energy and generating a larger quantum field for yourself to work through, and also distributing your energy correctly for larger shifts and larger adventures. And then there's also another book that is the Almanac, and it's called Polina's Astrological Almanac. It's going to probably be online, available in about 3 days. And this is the thing. This book is basically a diary. It is a diary for the year, and it's got premonitions for the year, the month for each sign, and also each week, and also occasional daily premonitions. And it's got everything you need to know about the phases of the moon, quarter moons, first and third quarter, new moon, full moon, all retrogrades, and everything like that. So that's online now. I believe they'll be coming out on about 26th, 27th maybe of October, so keep an eye out. Maybe have a look on the 1st of November if they're out. Great Christmas presents if you do Christmas. I don't do Christmas, but if you do, they're good presents. And thank you so much for listening. If you'd like a reading, my details are in the section below, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.